Okay, I think we're live. Say hi if you're here so I know it actually worked. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't. Um, let's see. Is this live? Yes. Okay. I think it is working. Very good. Okay. Hello everybody. Happy Sunday. We are going to continue working on the Slavic inspired naming language for the book that I'm starting a major revision on tomorrow. Hello, Formica. Hello. Um, and so this is a continuation of last week's stream, which we mostly managed to work on choosing like our sounds and trying to generate names and getting like all that like base phonetic stuff working and do some code fixes because I had some bugs in that. So my goal today is to formalize the name structure a little bit, even more. Um, and part of this kind of ties into what we were talking about at the end of the last stream, where there's a lot of like, it's a lot more patterny, what the naming schemes that I'm inspired by here than what I had been doing so far. So we're going to lean into that more, create a bit more of a strict pattern. And then I think what we're going to do is just generate, like take a lot of our generated name bases and then put them in the forms. Hello, Nemo. And then have the names from that. And then that should also give us like some diminutives. And then I don't know how much I want to get into place names. I need to rename places, but I don't have that many. We'll need to do last names. So maybe we'll try and focus on. Sorry, my children sound like they're pretending to be ghosts in their rooms right now. I don't know. But yeah. Yes, and then last names. Place names, I only have a few in the book right now that I might just direct transfer them slightly to make them match in the language, but we'll have to see. Hello, Antonoki? Did I pronounce that right? I don't know. But let me scroll up to what we had sort of been doing at the end of the last stream, is we sort of had made these lists of some of the names we sort of liked. I was going in and pulling like some of the like feminine versus masculine versions of the names. And I've taken a little bit of time asking some questions, and I've looked up a few things to sort of make some starting notes on where we want to go for here. But also I'm tired, everybody. I don't know. I think Paw Patrol Live, which I just went to with my kids, sucked the life out of me a little bit. So fair warning. I'm half dead right now. But what we had started getting to was having a name base and then adding whatever appropriate suffix we want to it, which we'd have a variety for both, and then you get the name, and then having like a way to get the diminutive of it, and then maybe ways to take the diminutive forms and like re-adding suffixes to make them like, names again, new names. So I have some notes, which I don't know. This is from the Google that I just got just now. But two of the most common suffix types for diminutives in some Slavic languages are ko and ek for men and ka and ek or eka for women. So I don't know if I want to keep I don't think I'm gonna go exactly with that, but something with that sort of vibe of these are very similar, but there's like a vowel difference. That's basically the difference here. And right now I think we have all feminine names ending in an A right now. I think they basically all do. Yeah. So basically all the feminine names are ending in an A. So I could limit that a little bit more to certain endings with an A, like we had used and ta as sort of specific ones when adding suffixes, which I do like those. I feel like we need some more. And then the ones that from the names we had picked so far would be ending in AR, IK, SHD, and HN. I feel like that's sort of too many and they're sort of all over the place. But I'm not sure. This is kind of getting into the land of like, it's kind of hard to tell. So I think what a good place to start would be to generate, instead of names like we had been doing before, just generate like single syllables or 2-syllable words to use as like name bases, and then seeing what we might want to do with them to make them names and try going that approach instead of the full generative approach. Because like I feel like that's making it harder for me to understand what we're doing a little bit. So also, how's everyone's weekend going? I hope it's going well. I hope you're not being, subjected to small people shows, children. I don't know. I don't know. Paw Patrol Life killed me. It really did. And I'm like half awake. But I was also up late last night watching TV with my best friend. So, it happens. Okay. So, where had we been with building names with the generators? So it looks like we were generating full names here based off the different patterns being having those common name bits in them. Which, let's just ignore that for now entirely. And basically, I don't even know if I want to do the build name, because build name, all it's doing is using the name length weights, where we really just want like 1 and 2 syllable names, which I don't know what that is right now. Name syllable lengths. So we could have up to 3 syllables. Let's temporarily, I'm just going to move this out here so I don't even have to do anything weird. Hello, Galat. Please tell me if I mispronounce things because I can't pronounce anything. But let's just build a bunch of names real quick and use those as bases and then figure out what on earth we're doing with these suffix things. Because, like, yeah, I don't even know. Build name. There we go. So let's just run this, get 50 of these. Hello, Ronnie the zombie. Welcome to the chaos. All right. Oh, Aaron, what is the update? I decided to scrap the Galapagos-style archipelago atlas map, and I'm working on an Iceland analog, and you're following Artifactian's atlas map series. Brilliant. That sounds like fun. I like that. That sounds fun. Ronnie the zombie is kind of new here. Learned from your channel from Artifactian. Yeah! Edgar is the best. He's... I don't think he has, like, power right now. His poor little island is just buffeted with storms at the moment. We can all, hope everything's going fine for them all over there, but yes. Yes. Yes, he's great. Big fan. All right, so here's some, like, random word things that we could turn into names, and we have some sample endings that we could play with, and I'm gonna ignore the weird ones, which like I don't know, I can't really pronounce that. Nrilb, not a big fan. But then again, like, we don't have to use these exactly as long as we follow the phonetic rules and all of that. Phonetactics. Okay, I always confuse which one's phonetactics and which one's phonetics. Phonetics is like pronunciation, and phonetactics is like how they all get grouped together, right? Yes. Ronnie's been building a world since 1996, got 4 languages and 2 still to create. That's crazy. I am a baby here. Yes, I am a baby conlanger who is just dipping her like pinky toes or whatever, her little toes into the world of conlanging. And today's task is just working on a naming language. That's it. But yeah. Surf is kind of interesting. So if we added one of the feminine endings, that could be surfa or surfta, or we could like remove the F. So it could be sira or sirta, which is kind of interesting. I don't dislike that. So what program is this? It's just Java code that I'm writing. My brain is not super helpful, so I'm writing Java code to do all of this, mostly as a generator to keep track of everything, because, like, Phonotactics is how your sounds go together, so basically how your syllables form. Yes. Now that we have that put together. Yes. I guess so now that we have both of those. We have both of those, phonetics and phonotactics. Which is all housed here in the program. So if we had a base for this example that was surf, and I assume there's a official conlangy linguistic way to write this, but we could have, you got to do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people either use like combinations of online tools or like Excel sheets and stuff, but then you have to like remember everything at one time to do stuff, and it might just be because I'm so new to this, but I just cannot. So that could be like surfa, surfta, which I like less than just like sirta, sira. I think I like those better, which would be the feminine endings, or we could have sarar sounds kind of weird. Surfar and Sirik sounds kind of cool, or Sirsh, or Sirn, Sirhn. Those are all interesting. Those look like, I don't know, vibin names. That's fine. And then we would do potentially diminutives and then go back out again with, you know, re-adding suffixes on or something. Which, if the common ones for the suffixes, surfolita, yeah, it could do something like that. To then, do we have something like that at some point? Oh my gosh. I don't know if anyone else's mice do this, but when I scroll up, it will jump and sometimes go backwards, and it's really annoying. Yeah, we considered doing these too, but I feel like these are such common name ones that I don't know if I want to use them. I mean, maybe that would give it like a really common feel to them. So we could have, oh my god, see, it did it again. It just jumped up when I tried to scroll down. It's annoying. Where were we? Here. So we could have, if we included those, Serena, Sarita, Sarana, or Surfina. Was Surfina? Yeah. Surfina sounds interesting. Surfita, Surfina, Surfana. Any of those seem like, I don't know, like they could be names. I don't know. For an example. Okay. So let's keep pulling these and see what sticks out, because I feel like we'll come up with some patterns where certain things tend to sound like they kind of vibe with everything else the best. Nye, 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 nye. I feel like this would be less pronounceable for people. For any of you that are new to this, my big aim with all the stuff that I come up with this is I want them to be really like sight pronounceable by like your generic English speaker, because these are just going in books. So like I don't want people to look at words and be like, oh my goodness, how do I pronounce that? You know, or have it be super like it could be pronounced a lot of different ways. Fee, plul, meal, schlei, meal, shya, shya, shya. I also am awful at pronouncing things personally. Surfya. Oh, like a ya kind of thing? That could actually be interesting. Yeah. I like that. I like that, having like a ya at the end, because we do want to get those ya sounds, because we have a lot of those like Y starting like vowel. They're not diphthongs because they're one sound, so we're treating it as like what would be one IPA letter, but is actually two letters in English. Characters. So Surfia, or Syria. which almost sounds like you're saying Syria, but not. Yeah can be found in niet, Russian for no. Yeah. Like, I feel like it looks like I mean, obviously, yeah, it is the start of a very popular Russian name, but it definitely has that feel to it, but I feel like your average English speaker that doesn't know, like, a Slavic language would not well, I don't know. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't be as hard to pronounce as I'm imagining it would. Because I would be like, Nieta or Nye Nye Nyen Niena? Niena, something like that, and then Nyed? I don't know, I think it'd be kinda hard to pull a name from that. If people can pronounce Daenerys, they can pronounce anything. Well, I feel like didn't, like, half the people pronounce that wrong anyway? Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff in I don't know, I feel like a lot of people pronounce them wrong, but also Daenerys, it's not really that bad. Suriella, I don't have double letters in this, like the double L's, I don't have that. Suriella? Yeah, I don't have any L's in any of these right now. I have L's in this language, right? Yes, I do. Okay. There are L's. I just don't have them in any of these endings, but maybe that can be intentional. Maybe I can add those. Pieta, pia. I feel like nye, pia. I don't know if either of these are particular. Like those are maybe equivalent. So let's just say, yeah. Let's just say I tried to do those. What would that look like? Yeah. So if we tried to do pia, your one language has a lot of French R sounds. I'm betting on people not being able to pronounce it. Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't think I can pronounce any French R's or any non-English R's, I think. I can almost pronounce the Spanish ones because I did like 4 or 5 years of Spanish in school, but like, I don't know. I can like recognize them and tell them apart when I'm hearing them, but I just like, I sound stupid when I try to make the sounds. But that's really cool. I feel like if I was doing a project where I could actually had some control over pronunciation, I'd do a lot weirder stuff. But I don't know. So P. You're Afrikaans, so it's easier for you. Oh, fair. Proposal for feminine ending. Ima instead of ina. Croatian has ima as a dative ending, and it's a subtle difference. Oh, interesting. Pia. Yeah, pure. Yeah, so that sound is in English, Nima. That's a good point. Yeah, so it doesn't seem as like maybe on looking at it, they might be like, wait, how's that pronounced? But then they'd be able to actually like, once they sounded it out, it would be pretty clear as a sound for them. So let's see, Ima instead of Ina. Also, welcome, Ross. Oh my god. Stop scrolling in the wrong direction. This is killing me. Okay. Ima instead of Ina. Yeah, because I feel like Ina, it's so already a thing. So let's see, if we did Ima, which definitely has a slight, like a different vibe to it, and it adds an M's. So that could get us, so we could have Surfima or Sarima. Sarima. I do like that. I like that a lot, actually. I like that. Okay, so if we have Pew or Pia, as in like pure, like you're saying, we could have let's see, Purima. Purima? Pure Purima. We could have Puta, which I feel like we shouldn't have that one. I'm pretty sure I know what that is very close to. In Spanish. Puya. Puya? I feel like that would be weird. Puya? Puya. That's a bit weird. Puya. Pyaya? Because I feel like people might pronounce it like Pyaya or Puya. Let's see. Pushka. I don't have an SHKA, but if this was going into the masculine, then Pyush would make sense, and then it wouldn't be that far to then go back to Pyushta to get wrapped back around to the feminine, which Pyush then could be like the male form. I would make Pew into masculine form. Okay. Yeah. SH is pretty safe for Slavic languages. Yeah. So we'd have Pyush, or pure, Pyuk, unless you add in an R like Purima as a repair strategy. Except that sounds like Purina, or what is it? What's the like big dog food brand? I don't know. That's sticking in my head with that. But yeah, okay, so I could add random consonants in the repair strategy. But yeah, I like going that direction. Pushta, yeah. Pushtima, Purina. Yeah, that's it. Purina. Yeah. It's really not actually that close, but Pushtima. Yeah, Pushtima. And then I could get Pud. How do I feel about that? Pud. I feel like people would pronounce it Pud instead of Pud. 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 Pune. Pyun. Pune. But do I care? Do I care if people would pronounce it Pud or Pud or Pyun? Pyun. I don't dislike that. Pyun. But I don't think I like Pyud. 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 Puric. If we rely on an English speaker's pronunciation of vowels, we won't go very far. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. However, that is what we are, unfortunately, which slightly philosophical. Actually, it's really not philosophical at all. But I struggle with the idea of like putting names in books that people won't be able to pronounce, or at least not a lot of them. Like I feel like having like one or two is fine, but I suppose some people just do like pronunciation guides at the beginning, and maybe it's just my ADHD brain those don't work for. But I'm very hesitant of doing anything that like someone would instantly have trouble pronouncing. I think if you're Slavic theming it anyway, you might as well just embrace the vibes. That is true. That is true. We are going for the vibes. That is the goal here. Palatalization is a huge phonoaesthetic part of Slavic languages, except for some reason Serbo-Croatian, which I will say Serbo-Croatian was initially what this is, right? For those of you who weren't here the last time, when I first started writing this book, all of the names are essentially Croatian. They're the less Christian, more Slavic-based ones, but most of them are all like of that Serbo-Croatian thing, and then I realized that I really kind of needed to do my own thing. So if I scroll down to here, these are the current like names of all of my characters in this list, which like these are all very obvious, very these are names. I changed the spelling on a few of them just to make it slightly more English-y, but yeah, which may be why that like seems weird to me, because it's not in this specific inspiration, but we are going for it. Puthar, Puther. I do like that. Also, because I'm mildly useless, could you remind me what the palatalization is? Because I know I asked this exact question the last stream, and someone explained it to me, and I've promptly forgotten what that means. But I remember it making a lot of sense when someone explained it to me, and I've forgotten again. I do like Puther. Oh, the Y in between the sounds! Okay. Yep. The Y in between the sounds. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I'm into that. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. So if we have Push, we already have Pushta and Pushtima. If we have Pune, we could have Puna, Punta. Kind of is also a little bit close to this one again, but Punta. I cheated. I made the main language of my world English and used the conlangs for the special people. I mean, that works. Yeah, Pud. So if we have Pud, we could have Puda or Pudya, Pudta. I don't. Pudima. I feel like that one's the least, like, weird seeming. And then we have Puthar. We could just have Putha or Putha would probably make the most sense here. Yeah, took a page out of Tokion's book. Yeah, fair. I really am enjoying this idea of taking the same base and then bringing out a lot of different endings to it. The one problem that I have with this is that I can probably only use one of these per, like, in the book, because I can't have names that are that similar. So, like, of all of these, I can probably only use one of them. So, like, it'll give me a lot of options to choose from, but unless they're very, very different. Like, if I had, like, Pud and, like, Pustima, like, those are probably different enough that I could probably do both of them, as long as they weren't, like, adjacent characters. They were, like, not gonna get confused, for other reasons. Also forgot that SK is pretty common in Slavic. Yeah, a lot of the SKs. I decided that no one would be able to pronounce my names, went all in, and gave the main character a uvular trill in their name. I mean, honestly, you do you. You do you. Go for it. I think that's great. Pew feels very similar to an existing Slavic name root pre. I don't remember what it means, but it is a thing. Pre Slavic name root. Pre could be interpreted as a prefix signifying belonging to or of. So it could roughly translate to belonging to or of. Yeah, that looks like what it is. How about Puvira? Puvira. Do I have V's in this language? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Do I have a V? I do have a V. Puvira. I don't think I want to go with Era. I feel like there's a reason we weren't going to do that, but I can't remember what it was. Do I have a note on that somewhere? On Era? I don't know. I feel like Era is too much like of a real thing. I like the sound of that though. Like the word doska. And Ross says, no, Madeline, one of your characters is Push and has all of 6 of their siblings named beginning with Pew because their grandfather was Pune. No! I mean, like, realistically, that's probably what would actually happen. But this is the for a book first over conlanging first, where it has to be in service of the book and that would confuse everybody unless it was just like a thing, but I feel like if it was like you had one small family that like that was like the gag and you had them all very present, but like it never actually mattered if you remembered which one was which, like the character, like your POV character itself was confused by who was who, then I feel like you could get away with that pretty easily. But I would confuse myself. And no. No. I don't need to do that to myself. We're leaning away from the trying to cause endless suffering. So let's move on from that. And then you realize it's just Pule, and Pule, and so on. Oh my god. I feel like you could just create like a book and just have the most like confusing naming thing ever and just have that be the whole vibe of everything is just how confusing it is to like tell all the characters apart. I feel like it could be a thing, especially if it's something where like, you know, they're going I don't know, somewhere new and it's like a new tradition or something. I feel like that could be interesting. Or real life Romans naming all their daughters the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Okay. So I feel like at a certain point, once I'm really settled on these endings, like which ones I'm liking, I feel like I can just figure out which ones make the most sense for that start or a few of them. But let's do a couple more of these and then we'll go to diminutives and work our way around. And then I think we'll be close enough then that we can start actually picking names to replace some of the names. Okay, so if we're going with nye, we could go Nyesh. Nyesh would be, you know, one of the male ones. I can type today. So Nyesh, Nyen. I feel like Nyen. I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Nyesh, Nyed, all of those things. Then we could have Nyesha. Nyesha. Nyedra. Nyed. Yeah. Nyedra. Yeah. Nyedra. Yeah. Nyeshta. Have Nyena. Nyatana. Yeah. Nyatana. Nyatima. Would all, I feel like, work there. Nyatima. Nyatima. That's a little weird. Let's see. Okay. Let's find something a bit different. The beer. Beer. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try this one. Which I feel like, let's try this one. So Vebish. Vebik. I feel like Vebir itself would be masculine. Vebar. Vebin. Vebin. All of that would work. And then you could have Vebira. Vebima. Vebishta. Vebikta. Fabiren? I don't have an N ending right now. Fabine, although I have HN. The in sound. You got the Russian B in your language, like the V that sounds like a B. I don't know. I have these. These are the letters that I have, and I'm not allowing any sorts of like vowel diphthongs or anything like that. It's just these, which are like the single vowel sounds, and then you can't combine them with anything else. And then I have these. So I do have a B sound, and I do have a V, which I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. Do I want like an EN ending? Like, do I want to do that? Surfin. I'm going to keep that in a question mark section while I think about it. Feel like this one would be hard to pronounce. Because is that thea? Is it like, I look at this and I immediately think of time, which isn't pronounced in any sort of reasonable way whatsoever. You give up on trying to type. Oh no. It's okay. I feel like typing is a overrated skill. Griot. What if instead of Thai you go with Thai? Oh, so then it's less confusing. I like that. Okay, let's try that. So if we had Thai or Tie, actually that would be Tie, right? Not Thai. Tie. Okay, let's see if this seems easy to pronounce once I break some of them out. Oh, the scrolling thing. Okay. There you go. So if we have Tiesh, would people pronounce that Taish? Time with the diphthong time. Thai. Thai. Taimar. Taish. Time. Tick. Tamic. So then that would be Kesha, Ta, Taima. I keep pronouncing this one wrong. I probably shouldn't use it given that I can't pronounce it consistently. Tide. Taida? Taidya? Taidya? Taida? Tidima? Maybe? I haven't used Ita once. I don't think I like how close it is to like a real thing. I think I want to keep these two. I think these ones are solid. So Taish. Okay. So what if SARS? Sarsima, Sarzana. That could be interesting. Tylora. 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 That's an interesting one. Tylora. Okay. All right. So now I'm curious. Actually, before we go over to diminutives, I'm curious if I can get something that's sort of similar to one of my three main characters. Because right now, my three main characters are Irina, Peter, and Carlo are their names. And so Irina, I mean, it fits the naming scheme, I think. Irena. Yeah, it fits it, but the na is not really something that I have. Like, it could happen. Like, if, like, Iren was, like, the word or the base somehow, then you could get Irina. But if I was trying to make something that seemed a little bit less like that, then yeah, let me move this lower so I can see what I'm doing better. It was a down scroll. So if we had Irina, Irina, Ariana. Yeah, I feel like that would be close. Ariana. I don't think I like it that much. Like, it doesn't have the right feel to it. I mean, you can have like Irta, Irishta, Irisha, Irida. Although, of course, people pronounce that Ireda, which is meh. So Peter, I mean, Peter just straight up works. Like, I could keep Peter, but I don't know if that, like, is too much of a real name. Irenaya. Yeah. Yeah, that would be an option. I don't Irenaya. I don't feel like it has the right vibe. I wish phonetic alphabets worked on YouTube. Yeah. Oh yeah, worked on YouTube. Yeah. I read that correctly. Even though it was spelled wrong. I don't know if I want to keep Peter because I was considering keeping some of the names that still fit. I don't know. Carlo obviously doesn't work. I could keep the KAR. I could go with something like Carvec. Could be an option because that takes one of our common name bits and would have a proper ending. Carvec. Oh, sorry. I bumped the whatever this thing is called, the microphone. There we go. Carlos. I mean, like, I could do stuff like this. I could do Carlic. Carlar. Carlone. Yeah, so I could do something like that. I feel like Karvik is the one I like the most so far out of all of those. Cause like it's a very like sharp, harsh character, so I feel like that has that sort of vibe to it. Which I haven't added any of these into these, but like if I had like Sirvekta, or like Nyejima. I don't know. Like there's options to play in here with that. So that's not bad. Karvik. I kind of like it. And it's close enough to the first one that I'd look at that and I'd immediately know what it is. Peter. Hmm. That's a struggle. Because I don't know if I want to go straight to like something that's the same. Carlton? Yeah, I feel like I could do that. The AN, I feel like, isn't something I've used yet. I could do it and just have it be a little weird, but okay. Vanessa. Pieta. Yeah. Pie. That'd be okay. What if I did PYE? Pie. So I could do Pien. Pietar. Pietic. Pievek. Although that would be too similar to Karvik if I did them both. Although they are brothers. They could just be weird and have very similar names, but we're not going to do that. Piejem. Pienol. I don't like that. I don't like that one either. Pietic. Piesh. I mean, Pietar would be Pieter. Pieter. Am I even like remotely pronouncing that correctly? Peter. I feel like that's the closest right now. If I want to keep that exact same like name feel, right? That would probably be the closest. And I feel like this, Irita would be the closest there if I wanted to keep that same name vibe. Vanessa, which I could keep like the VANE probably. VANE. Venevic. Veneta. Venetia. Venyeshta. Yeah. Veneshta. I do kind of like that, having that sta in there, because we do have that as a pretty common one. And it still has that sort of feel. And it gives me the opportunity to kind of use the diminutive there too, which could be fun. So then Lana, which, oh God. There's nothing wrong with Lana. That is allowed. It could show up here. Like that could be fine. I could do something. I hope you can't hear my kids right now. Lana, Lanala. Like I could do Lanala. I feel like that doesn't have the right vibe to it though. Lanta, Lanash, Lanasha, Lanara. I could go Lanara. So is this language just for character names? So mostly it's gonna, for I think it's a naming language, right? So I'm going to use this for my character names. I might use it to create some diminutives. I might use it to create, like, it's basically going to be all noun based. We're only doing nouns, so I'll have names for characters. I need to figure out how I want to do their last names. Because right now the two main last names I have are just very common Croatian last names. Like, I think they're on the, like, the top 10 most common list, which obviously I don't want to keep. It's like Novak and Horvat, I think, are the ones I have right now. And I have a few other ones, but they're not actually really used at all. And then I might want to do some place names. And then there's a few like magical concepts and like things like that I've created that I might like create words for in this language, but there's not going to be any like, extensive conlanging of any sort in here. This is all super basic. Lanache. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to add like an A or a TA, which I kind of like Lanala. Okay. Go talk to Daddy if you need something. Fine, go. That's fine. Sorry, my kids are asking questions. But I could do like Lanasha or something like that. I do kind of like keeping these names short, because these three are sisters, and Irina, Lana, and Mia all together kind of like, they kind of have some of a similar feel, but I could just like Lanta, Lanya, Lanima. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do there. Mia, I definitely can't have. Mia would not be Lanifer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Mia, I don't think is allowed. Yeah, no. That is not a thing that is allowed here. But we could have Mia. Although that's a vowel and then another vowel. Lanya, Manya, Vanya. Yeah. I could do that, but I won't. Nope. Mita. I could just do Mita or Misha or Mika, Mikta. Macari. Yeah. Oh gosh. Mirta. Yeah, so I feel like these have good vibes. Mianta. I would do like ta. Mianta. Yeah, I could do those, but I think I want to keep it short. I think I want these to be short names, because they're going to be like, I don't know, I feel like it works. Misha, Mika, Mita, Mikta, Mirta. I kind of like Mirta. So this is for like a 13-year-old girl, but that the main character still sort of like remembers mostly as like a small child. So I wanted to like have that feel of being super like, I don't know, more innocent and young. I feel like Mirta feels like that. Mintaka. I don't think I want the k. I don't really have that anywhere. That kind of sound at the end. But that would be valid if I had like two roots that were pulled together. But then Misha also sounds childlike. Yeah. Mirta means death. Yeah, so Mirta might be too close to Mirta. That's true. Misha. I feel like, what does Misha remind me of? I feel like that's a word or a name or sounds similar to something that I'm familiar with. Misha. Misha. What is that? Okay. Oh, Misha is like a name. People have that name. It's apparently a designer. Apparently in Russian, Misha means who resembles God. Misha is a real name, yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's fine. Like, it can be, there's going to be overlaps, you know what I mean? Misha. I don't dislike that. Like Misha Barton. Yeah, yeah. I think that's okay because it fits really, really well. Like, it is very direct into this naming scheme. You know, like if I do something weird, I don't want to necessarily do something weird that doesn't follow the patterns that then bring something in, or something that means something that's like everyone is going to look at and be like, oh, that means this, like Mirta. Like, that's a bit too much. You know what I mean? So then I did that. I do like Harvick. Let me search that and see if that's a thing. I mean, I'm sure all these things are things. So, Karvik, the closest thing to that is Kaervek. Wow. Kervek is apparently a black-aligned human warlock from Dominaria. Pye. Gether. I feel like that's just a potential weird spelling of Peter from some place or time. I go back and forth on that. Okay. So what about Vesna? Vesna. Her name I'm really not super fussed about because I may end up switching her name with usually being referred to with a honorific or a title. So I don't know if I really care too much for her name to be like super perfect. Are any of these other characters like super significant? Lydia is kind of a thing. So Lydia, finding names that are unique sex when someone already stole it. Yeah. So Lydia could be, I mean, Lydia with a YA would fit. So Lydia would still work. Or I could go more weird, like Lidishta or something like that. I have an Aunt Lydia. Yeah. Like Lydia spelt like that is super normal, common. I don't know. Normal is not the right word to use. But like I know people named Lydia. It makes me think of Pride and Prejudice as well. But I feel like this spelling keeps it within the vibes. Like it feels, you know. Also got an Aunt Truny. Okay. Dario. Darish. Darish. Or Dar. Ick. Dark. Those would both work there. I feel like this works. I feel like we have a pretty well-defined scheme here that will work. All right, so let's go back around to diminutives. So, or making short forms of it, like shortened versions of it. And I kind of, Vedicia. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty. I don't feel like that I can't do like an IA here. That's pretty sounding though. Diminutive. So I feel like there's some common endings, and then you normally like make it shorter and then maybe add the diminutive ending, which I know in a lot of things can mean things like little one or precious one or stuff like that. Like I know I don't know, what pops into my mind is, like, in Greek, you can have, "iki" at the end, and then you can add, like, "mu" to mean mine, so, like, the only if you're talking about shit, right? Skat, you could call someone "skatikimu," and it's like, "My little shit." That's, one of the few things I remember from when I was learning Greek. Um, so I feel like something like that could be interesting, but I wanna be able to shorten the names, and I kinda feel like it'd be cool to do something a little bit weird. 'Cause, like, if I wanted to just take this sort of, like, common diminutives here and make them fit, um, like, I don't know if I wanna do, like, "kosh," 'cause I can't do "ko," but I feel like adding "kosh" at the end would be really long, um, and then it would be, like, "kosha" for women, which I feel like, again, is or, for feminine name endings would be kind of long if we're trying to make a short version of it. Um, I wonder if there's any systems that anyone's aware of where they do something weird with, like, repeating parts of the names, and instead of adding something on that means something, like, repeating parts of a name can have a similar thing, so, like, I don't know, like, my name is Madeline, right? And, that first, like, syllable is mad, and so, like, calling someone, like, mad, even though that's, like, that's dumb, please don't ever call me that. I had people in my childhood who called me that, among other things, but, like, that sort of thing where you repeat things, I don't know if that could be an interesting scheme to go with for creating diminutives, like, as, like, if you take just the first syllable of it and then, like, add something on like that, or if I'd wanna just have, like, an ending, um, like, if we're looking at, uh, let's go with Pudima, right? The first syllable would be "pewed," and how would you or maybe you take off the consonant in it, like, and be "pew something." Reduplication is a very popular strategy and can do almost everything. Alright, then maybe that's what we go with. So, reduplication, diminutives, um, words that are created by repeating syllables or sounds to convey a sense of smallness, affection, or cuteness. Um, so what if we just did that? So you could have, like in this, you could have, like, "seer," which would be the same if we did that. It would be the same for masculine and feminine. Would that be a problem? Or would you add something to the end, like "seer" or "seer," and you repeat that vowel again to give it, like, sort of a vowel ending, even though it's not an "ah" ending, which the feminine would need? Oh gosh, how would that work? So, say we had "sirta," would that go to or you just instead of "seer," it'd be like "circe" to get the diminutive? Maybe? And then if you had, like, "Cyric," you could have "Circe" or "Circe," and then you keep it so that it at least has the consonant ending or not. Circe, and this would be how you could get some of the weirder ones, I guess. So, "nye," or could be like "nyesh," "nyed." I mean, for the short names, I feel like it would make it longer. It could be Sirir, Sisira, Sirasira, Isira, Isir, or however you want. Oh, however I want. See, Sirsi, Sirsira. Here. I do kind of like Sarita, Sirdan. Yeah. The one thing is, I want it to be obvious. So whatever the pattern is, I feel like I'm gonna need it to be very straightforward to where it's always the exact same, because this is something where readers will have to pick up on really quickly, because the main character isn't going to be using diminutives for that many people. Like, in fact, literally no one. The main character will basically never use a diminutive for anyone because of plot reasons, but other people would be using diminutives of the people she's talking to. So the reader would need to be able to see the dialogue of other characters calling people that we, being in the main character's mind, would only know by their full name, but then as the diminutive, and we need to know who that is. So I want it to be like really obvious how it comes from the name and what the pattern is, so that they could pick up on that more easily. You could give them a long name and take a short part from it. Reduplication can duplicate anywhere from just a vowel or consonant to entire words. True. Like, my name is Peronella, but I only use the Ron part, and now everyone thinks I'm a guy. I mean, it's like my daughter, her name is, well, I guess we're not trying to say their names online. Never mind. But the nickname we give her all the time is like a super guy name. Like, girls do not use it ever, as far as I know here, and I don't know, it's just become a thing. It's very similar to that. Basically, we call her Bob, which, I mean, I guess Bob's not that weird, but like in America, you wouldn't typically have a girl that you would call Bob, but it's in her names, and it just happened. I don't know. I blame her au pair. But yeah, so I want this to be really, really obvious. So if I have, like, I want there to be enough of it to where, I'm trying to think. Because I know in nicknames, where was I reading this before? Where like diminutives or nicknames in America or in English, I can't remember which one it was specifically, typically won't come from like the middle of the name. It'll typically come from the beginning of the name, but it's very common in other countries and other languages to, like, you can have them from the middle of the name or other parts of the name. So I think it would be very likely to have, like, people would recognize it more if it directly comes from the beginning of the name. So the people most likely to have diminutives used. Okay, I feel like the brothers could potentially, Karvik or whatever his name is, could use, potentially in the story, use the diminutive on Pieter or whatever we make his name be, in a demeaning sort of way. Like he's not doing it out of affection, it's out of like, I'm your older brother and I can do what I want kind of a way. Um, so I don't know if I like using the full reduplication, if that's the case. Because if, say it's like pien, that's a full syllable, so it'd be like pien pien. Is it? Okay. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Korean. In Korean, they add like an sound at the end, right? As like a diminutive or as something like that, right? Like if their name is like Lan, it'd be like Lanair. Or I can't actually pronounce this. Lanair. I listen to a lot of Korean TV, but I can't actually pronounce like anything in Korean. Laner? Laner. I feel like they do something like that to make it a diminutive. Let me see if I can just Google that really quick. Yeah, that's not coming up with anything. So maybe I'm crazy. But I feel like I see that a lot where, like, parents talking to their children, there'll be an extra, like, ER kinda sound to the end of their names. So maybe I just need to do something like that where I just take the first syllable and then I add an ending, and I just actually do that and have it be different from any of the other endings, just so that it's more recognizable. Because like, I feel like doing something else, like a mixed form, like a partial reduplication thing would be more fun, but I feel like it'd be harder to recognize, especially given that the diminutives are gonna come up so little in this. Although I could just use it to find more name forms, potentially. In English, we can use Pete for Peter, Jake for Jacob, John for Jonathan, and so on. So Pieter could just be Epiet, reduplication, just the first vowel. Piet. Could just be Piet. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I could also just do I could do something really simple where something that doesn't ever come up is any vowels other than A at the end. So I could do like I could add an O at the end to give it like a very distinct feel to where you can tell it's not a separate name. Like if it's Piet, it could be Pieto or or piano, Pieto, Piesho. Potentially I could do it'd be like Carvec would be like Caro. I could do I don't really like that though. I feel like I think I'm gonna need to think on that. I think I'm gonna need to think on that on what I want to do there. Because maybe also I just won't have a diminutive form because I don't really need it. Although it makes sense for people to have nicknames, but Caro sounds cool. Yeah, it would never be used. Like that one wouldn't ever be used. But like one for Mia. So if she's like Misha, if I have like what would be like that could be trying to think. Feel like I could do like the repeated I's, but with something other than like ET or Eeny, Emi. Like it could be like Mishimi or Mishiki. Like I could do like an IKI. Mishaki, Mishami. I don't know. Karo sounds cool. If you aren't using it, I'm stealing it. Go ahead, because that won't come up. Having I for female characters and O for male characters like we do in so many real world languages. Yeah. So instead of an A at the end of the feminine name, it could be an I. And so it could be Mishi instead of Misha. And that would be really like a really slight minor change that would still be really obvious where. So then, okay. So then if for a diminutive, I could take the first syllable and then add O or I. And that keeps it really simple. So then it would be like Mishi or Lanari, Lani, Lanimi. I feel like that makes it really simple and would really be clear to pick up on, both because it's a similar pattern and it's so similar and changes so little. Caro, Carvo, Pietar. Probably need to be Pieto, or Pieto, Piesho, something like that. But a lot of Slavic names are unisex, like Alex, Sasha, and Misha. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Which I could, like, introduce something that's a little bit more I don't know. I don't know, it might be easier just to keep it a lot more straightforward here. Oh my gosh, this scroll is going all over the place. Okay, here we go. So, if I do that, right, say I have those for diminutives, then I could use that to further create more names with other endings. But let's stick with this for now. So I think this works, right, for names. I feel like it's pretty easy to pull names up. I can generate things and pull them out of here. It's good. All right, let's move on to surnames because I need to figure out what I want to do for that. I'm only going to have a couple of surnames be present in the book. So I feel like I want something that's very patterned or very restrictive because again, there's not going to be that many examples of it and I want it to feel like a surname. And so some of the names could have meaningful pieces in them because there are certain like family traditions. So like the main character's family comes from like a guardian family, so sort of inspired by like a samurai clan type family. So there could be like special things in the name that could imply what type of family they are. So there could be endings potentially to the surnames that are specific to like a guardian family. And then other names could like not have that ending potentially. So I could do something like that. So patterns for more Slavic-based surnames. Oh, I have notes for this somewhere. Where do I have notes for this? Did I write this down? Did I write this down? No, I didn't. Okay, give me 1 second. For surnames, it's good to have words for son and daughter. Yeah, so I feel like those are very common in these sorts of families. Where's my tablet? I think one of the things I saw was that there's like 5 origins of surnames and at least Serbo-Croatian, which is like coming from the occupation, which I don't necessarily want to have other than maybe having like an additional ending to refer to like a guardian, or maybe I could add like that and an honorific for guardian families. There could be what were the other ones? Like I feel like son or daughter of is obviously one. There were other ones too, but I'm struggling to remember them. My one language is Turkish and Greek inspired, so I got a lot of J's in my alphabet, like I cannot pronounce any of those. Yeah, I don't know if I can pronounce any of those. I'd probably if I saw them in a word, maybe I could do it. But that's cool. So I could go straight with the like son or daughter thing, which would fit the aesthetic. I could go for something that yeah, because the ones I have right now are Novak and Horvat, which have very similar vibes to them. So maybe I kind of try to have a similar feel like to the names, but have them be a little bit more meaningful. And then I could have a potential like endings to mean son of, daughter of, which let's see. So this is what? And so some of the Slavic example that shows up at the top of the Google would be Ovich, or I can spell /Evich. Or let's see. What else is showing up? Let's see. Of, ev, or in indicate belonging to or descendant of. So of, ev, or in, descendant of. And then just also having the words for of or from can be good as well, so they can be used with place names. That's true. That's true. So I could reuse that bit. So let's see. A lot of the V's in there. So I'm seeing CKI, CKA, ska, ski, skaya, ski, ovna, evna, ovich, ina, koka, enko, akova, ekova, ikova. Yeah. So not going to write it for obvious reasons, fair, but my surname translates to from the mountains. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, so maybe I start with whatever this common bit is, what I want that to be in this language, which would be a straight up like word. And then I have to have different forms of it, but so let's see if my endings right now, because I want it to be different. Although I will say, so I don't necessarily want some of the names. Okay, so this might be like, how do I want to do this actually? Because if I want one name for the guardian family, that would have nothing to do with, well, I guess it could be like they're named after one particular person in the lineage. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the direct parent, because I don't want it to be used like that. I want them all to have the same last name and that name to have like a reputation, you know? So maybe I don't want to go with the son of, daughter of thing. Oh, you know a bit about Phillison. So little Mac from the little rock from the mountains. That's awesome. That's so cool. I like that. Vich comes from a word like produce or born, so something like Shostakovich is just sixth born. Shoshta being six. Okay. Okay. So do I want to do this then? Do I want to have the son of, daughter of names? It would have a very strong feel to it. But if I'm not going to use it like this directly, or would it, how weird would it be for it to be of a like further up descendant, I guess? You know, like if they're named after a specific ancestor, like would that be weird, or is it always like direct son or daughter type of thing? See if the Google has any thoughts on that. It's like you can choose who they are from or where they are from. Yeah. Oh yeah, the patronymic patronymic. Da, 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 da. Give a name of one's father or grandfather, more specifically an avonymic or an earlier male ancestor. It is the male equivalent of a patronymic. So I think I could have it be based off just a lineage. So it could be based on parent's name or just be a lineage, both work. Okay, okay. Okay, so maybe I go with that. And then it's still fine. So I want something short. So what is this again? So it would be following either a consonant or an A. So I could potentially have different forms for that. Or there could be like, I mean, I could always do something weird and have it be at the end. And then the gendered part could be in the middle. But I feel like that could be confusing. So what if we do, let's try, instead of building a bunch of names, let's build, I don't know, let's build suffixes. I don't think I have any specific suffix rules, but let's do this. Oh, you gotta head out. It's nearly midnight. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining. Have a good night. Thank you. Surnames also come from occupations. Yeah, I don't want to do occupation directly other than the ones that are like of a guardian family, you know what I mean? Which maybe that could just be a different ending. Like guardian of this from this descendant's line kind of thing. So instead of having it be like daughter of this, ancestor, it could be like guardian of this ancestor or like guardian from descending from this ancestor. Like that could be an interesting. Hello, Frolicker. Frolicer? Frolicker? Pronunciation of everything is awful. I apologize. Tree. Sorry. Okay. So I feel like here we go. If I want the sort of, I don't dislike slaw. I don't dislike that. V could be interesting because I don't use that anywhere. So could voy. If I want to do something that's vowel starting, do any of these start with a vowel at all? Oh, I may not have that. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go. Let me add this back in because we're not generating names right now. And then, no. Oh, there's only a 2% chance to have a vowel starting syllable. Oh, I misspelled it because it was taken, so you're right. Brilliant. Okay, good. So I could just do that temporarily. Just to get some ones that start with vowels. So, how is that's kind of interesting. Could just have like E. Jans. Oi! The Silva is just from the forest, so place names of which they are, where the guardians work as well. That could make sense. So they wouldn't have like specific places because they're all like, Although maybe they could. Maybe they could. Like wherever they were originally posted as. Actually, that's an interesting idea. So it could normally be ancestor descendant of and then the like whatever, whatever the that's just FEMA ending is, or it could be original place, guardian of, and then I could have two name forms. That could be interesting. Eve. I do like IV. Okay. And alt. Kind of like alt as well, because it just kind of seems weird. I haven't done that a lot. Inge. Feel like might struggle with that a little bit if it's long. So let's say we do that. And then if we wanted to add, what is the pattern for the rest of the end of this? So they normally, so ICH would be, for that example, would be like, I guess, the male part of it, like son or whatever. So we could do, I guess these last endings could be the same. So let's go back to here, go back to 2%, run that again. So that's weird. And these wouldn't have to follow the same rules as a name because they're not necessarily a name. Yeah, having multiple naming patterns also helps you differentiate between cultures or even generations. That makes sense. That makes sense. So okay. Although no, they added an A. We might add an A anyway at the end for the female ending. So it could be like Yansa, could be the end of the name potentially. If this was if Jans, then we could do to like Yansa could be an option. I don't know if that kind of fits the vibes though. Yansa. It's cool. I like it though. So it could be like, say we have a random ancestor. Let's pick random ancestor. Say we have I don't know. Babish. We'll grab that one. So if we have this, so we could take off, I guess, the name ending. Is that how you do it? Or would you keep the full, like... How much do you keep of the name? Like, would it be like, you'd keep that full name, Babishiansa, if it was like daughter of? Or would it be like Bashiansa? Keep the whole and then do the contraction however you like. Names are weird. Fair. Fair. So we could do... Where is... Yeah, so like... Vabiansa? Vabiansa? Or Vabians? Riansa? So I could do something like that. Which definitely isn't the short names. I wonder where those... Okay, let me Google origin of surname Novak. You get that like super short ones. I guess OV is The surname Novak comes from the Slavic word for new and is common in Slavic-speaking countries. It can be spelled differently depending on the origin. So it just means new. The name was used to identify people who had recently arrived in the area. Interesting. So that's just like a whole different thing. And then Horvat, what is that from? Its Croatian origin comes from the word Hrvat, which means coat. It is the most common surname in Croatia and second most common in Slovenia. Was used to refer to Croatian refugees. Variant of this surname, Horvath. It's coat. Croat. Interesting. So I feel like that's fine though. So then what is the place in the book? Book Bible. So the main clan, their original main post was in the city of Cleese, which I might have to rename anyway because I want to fix the names. But is Cleese even like allowed in here? Is that like an actual place name? Yeah, it is. So if we took Cleese and did something like, I mean, Cleese is like a valid name here, or word. I don't know. Let's say we kept it. I'm not going to, but let's say we did. If I wanted to do like descendant of, say maybe I go with like old, right? So it could be Cleesolt or Cleesolta. I don't dislike that, especially if it's like a short place name. And I feel like the ult ending is very different from anything you'd have in a normal name. So I feel like that would have a good vibe there. So I like that. I like ult for the guardians. So public static final string. So we say guardian of male endings. That could be ult. Say ulta. And then we could have, I don't know if I'm sold on Jans, because I feel like it's just very long. But Jans, I feel like has a very like distinctive sound compared to the actual names. Like you wouldn't have that NS ending for the most part. Or Jansa. Or maybe we just take out the Y and it could be Ans or Ansa. And that has a little bit different of a feel to it. Potentially. Ans. Maybe it could be a way to show further history, like it stemmed from another culture that got merged into them, perhaps even tied into some social classes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although it's hard doing stuff like that too much because there's not going to be a lot of places for me to show this because I'm trying to think of like people's family connections have been lost so much in where the society is. So I feel like their surnames in many cases are completely meaningless now. So I wouldn't really be using them. I'd probably honestly be just referring to people as like where they are currently from, like just spoken out, like they're this person like from this settlement. Cause like it's sort of like post-apocalyptic a little bit where you have very small like settlements and stuff that are surviving. So I feel like last names, like there's not going to be people with like multiple names as much, or like people that are still with their families to where you would know, like a lot of people are just by themselves now, and disconnected. So I don't think I'll have very many opportunities to use a lot of surnames. So I don't want to go into anything too complicated because it just, you're not going to be able to pick up on any of that because it's just not going to be present in the book. So maybe I just keep this really simple. In that case, you just choose a word that you like the sound of. Honestly, I could just like generate random words and be like, that's now a last name for my like 3 last names that I'm going to use in this. Maybe I do that. And maybe instead, like for normal names, there's a, like I could still use this pattern, but you wouldn't really see it very much. Or I could just randomly generate words and go with that. Cause like, you're right. Like it would just, other than the like names of the guardian families, which could be that. Although these have nothing, they don't have the of in them. So let me figure that out. Cause I do think I still want that. And then I could still, wow, reuse it. So if ult and ulta is guardian of, then I could just have O be of. So something or other. Yeah, like that could be like, so then for like descendant of, that could just be ol. And then adding guardian of could be like ulta or ulta. I don't know if that really makes that much sense, but I feel like it's fine. Fine enough. Maybe. And then you would potentially have something like Vabishol or Vabishola. Don't know if I like the like Ola at the end, but it's fine. And then, yeah, I feel like that's fine. I feel like that makes sense. Okay. Nima's agreeing. Makes sense. So I could just go with something like that. Keep it simple. Don't do anything fancy. So let's say that's the plan. And then, wow. That gives me last names. And then what I would have, okay, so that's surnames. That's super, super simple surname system. So then the other question. So there's 2 directions that I need to go in now, which I don't know how much I'll get into today. But I need to figure out place names, which I feel like the types of names I have. So I don't need to do anything complicated with it. I think I can just generate random words and pick stuff for it because I don't have a lot of places that the names have like need to like include in them, like be compounded with like geographic things, like something hill wouldn't be the full name. Like I have the Risen River, so I would just like pick a name river, and then there's like the Mira River Fort and the Mira River. So I don't need to come up with a bunch of like geographic nouns that I compound with other things to mean things, which I've done in other languages, like other naming languages. So I think I'll just randomly generate words for that and go with it. And that's fine. But then I have the question of things you call people. So I've been trying to decide if I want to have like something that you would call a guardian, like sort of like an honorific, or if I want to have honorifics for like military members, like do they call each other sir or whatever, like I feel like it could help to have some honorifics for that, where because the military ones I'll use a lot and the guardian ones I'd use a lot. So I feel like it could be obvious how the honorifics are being used a lot more than like diminutives would be. So I could come up with diminutives for guardians, or not diminutives, honorifics for guardians, military, and then maybe like social honorifics, potentially. I don't have anyone that's like super high class. I think the highest like class person in terms of like titles is like the equivalent of like a duchess, but they don't really interact with that person, and also society isn't really a thing anymore. So I feel like there could just be like a single honorific that you basically give anyone that's like of a titled higher than you social class. I feel like that'd be more than sufficient for this, because like they probably would have had a more complicated honorifics for people, but given that it's just so useless at this point in society, I feel like they wouldn't matter as much anymore. So like I'm not going to bother building them for this. So if I want honorifics, I don't know if there are any like friends in Slavic based languages that I could pull inspiration from. Let's see. Speakers of Slavic languages and Baltic languages use two main sets of honorifics. West Slavs and Ukrainians use the title pan. South Slavs and Russians use gospodin, while Belarusians use either pan or spadar, and Lithuanians use either panos or gospodorius. I don't know if that's who those are specifically from. Let's see. Pan is used in varying degree in a number of Slavic languages, was equivalent to lord or master, ruler, suzerain. Let's see. How large are their communities? Is this for the attacking civilization? So there's really only going to be one like culture group that's going to be present in this story, because the society, it's like a kingdom, right, is or was very isolated for some like socio-political reasons. Like there used to be people that were attacking them. Long story short, but there's basically been like beasts that have taken over for currently unknown magical reasons that they don't know, but like these magical creatures that just started appearing, and they basically hunt people. And so now the people have to use different like types of magic to sustain themselves in different types of settlements that are protected enough that these like beasts can't get them from. So the communities are varying sizes. It depends on what type of magic they're using to like keep them safe / protected. The main character's like home base probably has like, they're basically a post on the edge of the boundary of one of the settlements that's like up in the mountains. So they're like protecting one of the like entry valleys. Like it's like a hanging valley at the base of the mountain where they're trying to do some sort of like agriculture down there. And so it's like the family is maybe like 20 to 30 people with married in peripherals. And then you have like so there's maybe like max of like 60 to 100 people there, depending on the time of year and whether or not they have like people coming in for various reasons. But like pretty small. And then the post that they go to, It's probably only, like, a few hundred people, like, they're very small and they're very isolated because it's very hard to, like, grow food and stuff, and also the populations were really, really decimated, so they're kind of in, like, small little clusters. The core settlements are probably a little bigger, so, like, the main character is probably on the peripheral of, that main one is probably, like, closer to a couple thousand people, maybe, maybe that might make sense. I haven't done the exact numbers because none of those, like, settings actually matter in the books right now, it's just, there is this place with these people vaguely mentioned, but, yeah, it's people from all over, so basically, the location where, like, the beast started coming, they sort of all, like, sort of retreated as they sort of fell back further and further towards defensible locations, so the main character is from what's currently called Cleese, and then they went back to a different, like, city fortress and fell back there, and then they fell back further, and then I think they're, like, probably, like, a week's travel away from there at this point, something like that, maybe a little further. It's not the world's biggest, like, country, kingdom area, um, so maybe not quite a week away, maybe a week. Yeah, probably about a week. Um, but yes. What was I looking at? I was looking at honorifics. So I feel like I want to come up with reminds me of some good stories. Good. So let's look at these and see if any of these look like they'd make good honorifics. I feel like single syllables would make sense. And they don't have to like relate to any words that I've already used potentially because they don't have to. Like they don't have to have anything to do with like these guardian words, although it could make it easier for the readers if there is some sort of similarity to them, but like it could be the honorable or the defender or something, like it could come from a different word, but let's see. I want words that have ending codas, and right now there's a 50% chance of having 0. So let's temporarily comment that out and generate some again. Okay. Rock, soar. So I could go with like something like that. Rock, soar, Sora, Roca, see, like Von or Vana. Like, I feel like I'm just picking like random words that kind of have that short feel. Dorn, Dorna. Like, I feel like any of those would work. So short of actually going through and figuring out what the meanings of various words would be, I feel like any of this would work. And then it would just like, yeah. Okay. So I feel like that would work. And then I just need to decide on the names, then figure out which sounds the least weird. Oh, I forgot that joke from last time. Goyerge being a type of cheese. Okay. So. Yeah, I feel like this is valid. So, if I wanted to pick a name for, I guess, this family. which would basically be the Novaks, or a placement for the Novaks. Then I could pick something like as if we're coming from a place. Oh, this is the thing where I need to rename that place. Let's see. Taj. Ilsh. Ilsh could be an interesting city name. Ilsh. So say they're from, instead of Cleese, they're from Ilsh, as an example. Then the last name would be Ilsholt. Ilsholt. I feel like that has too many of those repeated sounds in it. Ilsholt or Ilsholta. Not sure if I like that too much. So let's see. What else do we got? Something new. Lesp, chic, fen. If Cleese became fen, then that would be Benalt or Benolta. Not a huge fan of that. Let's see what else we got. Neef, Yolk, Srick, Ook, Sren, Nyans, Frost, Preels, Delf, Delf, Delfolt, Clardolt, Sorolt, Drisholt. I feel like that could be an interesting guardian name. Drish becoming Drisholt or Drisholta. Clardolt. Oh, Fat Bolt. It's kind of weird. Some of these are weird. Old is very distinctive, which I know was why I picked it, but Tlekolt? That's hard. Nrit, Ritolt. Geese. Gisolt. Drummelt. Isn't that weird? Herge could just be Hersholt. Dalnolt. Riolta. That's not too bad. I feel like I could change the spelling to be Rielt. How could people mispronounce that? Rielt. Potentially. Frottolt. I feel like anything with the T sounds weird. Olbolt. That's fun. Renzolt. Cast. Castolt, or, I mean, it could be shortened to Cassolt. Cassolt. Castolt. Cassolt. Cassolta. It's not that weird. I feel like those make sense. Drisholt and Dromolt sound fine, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with those. I think those sound cool. Dromolt. Kind of, yeah. Drome. I don't know if I'd have a city called Drome. If they're important people, having additional syllables may be fine and adds to their station. That's true. That's true. Because I would just the place it would come up is I would say that plus like post a lot. So like before it was the Novak post. So this would be like the Drisholt post or the Drummelt post or the Kesselt post or the, you know, Ilsholt post. Ilsholt. Isholt. Isholt? Isholt? It's actually not that bad. If the place was just called Ish. The city of Ish. Yeah, I think I need to like let those sink in a little bit and think about it. Because I feel like the long ones could be fine, but hung, tia, Driaf, Blung, Zhenge, Piov. That's interesting. Phyov. Phyov. Piovolt. Or Fjolt. It could also be Ilsh. That's true. We go from town to ton when making names. Yeah, Ilsh. That's true. And I could just, yeah, that's true. I got the H here. Piov could be Piovolt. Piovolta. I kind of like this pattern though. I just have to be like careful with which ones I pick so that they're not like, you know, they don't have the benefit of hearing these every single day for them to sound not weird. Where we'll only get like a couple of them. But I feel like that gives me enough options to pick from. So at this point, I think I just need to start choosing the ones I want to replace everything, which is fine. That's doable. Yeah, I think this may need to be where I cut it off for today. Because I think at this point, I just need to let these think in my head, because I need to replace all the names in the book with these names of things and places and words and just have those sound right. Because obviously, I've been using these names and like stuff to refer to characters for like over a year. That's very cemented in my brain. And now that I need to change them, there's some pain and suffering. So I'm going to let this settle a little bit. I don't know if I'll do another stream of this. If you think it'd be interesting to see me like choosing the specific ones, let me know. But at this point, I think we've mostly established the rules of the naming language. I just need to assign specifics. But I appreciate everyone for helping me out and, you know, hanging out for this. If I don't do an assigning conlang string, the next time I do a stream for conlang, it will probably be going back to the spell language conlang, which has been very fun. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good rest of your weekend, and I will catch you in the next one.